This is a personal analysis. These views are discussed through a fiction.
We start. I'd like to make this like a standalone video for perhaps the people who haven't seen anyone in case this goes viral, so they have a little bit more of a backdrop here for the conversation today. And it starts really with your 39 days to melee video. Can you just quickly maybe take the first 4 or 5 minutes there, explain what you had way back when in the data in 2009, how that led to Trump Rogan interview, and where we are today? Take that first 5 minutes, Cliff.
Okay, so in 2009, we had a forecast of a podcast. Podcasts weren't really well known at that point, of an unknown president with a podcaster that was going to be a temporal marker for our entering into sci-fi world. It's a temporal marker. It just marks things. It's not a precursor. It doesn't mean that it had to happen in order that this other stuff would happen. It was just shown in the data as highlighting it as sort of like a signpost on the way, right? But anyway, so the temporal marker is a signpost was a Trump interview. And in that data in 2009 was this thing about 39 days later, we would have conditions for melee. Melee is when an organized contention breaks down into everybody fighting everybody else with whatever is at hand, last man standing wins, that kind of thing. It's not a good outcome, not a good situation. We now, in that 39 days was after the temporal marker. And so that would have been December 3rd. And sure enough, pretty much on schedule, all of the organized contention around these drones and the UFOs and all of that kind of stuff started rising up, as well as the other organized contention within the humanity with, the worship cult doing all of the color revolution in Georgia and getting everything head up in Korea and all of this kind of stuff, right? They're doing everything they can to create chaos in order to hopefully get enough chaos that Trump can't come in. That's my supposition. Okay, that's why I think they're doing it. There may be deeper issues there, though.
Could it also be as above, so below, as we're having contention in space, maybe that it's somehow translated into anything
I
on
don't
Earth?
see it that way. I could see it as above, so below, only in the sense that the worship cult believe themselves to be chosen by their space gods to rule humanity. This cult believes that they have the right to farm humanity. This cult also knows that they have to report to these space aliens. And if the space aliens come back, the cult, in my opinion, is afraid that if the space aliens come back and see their herd, which is humanity, in such disarray, that they would take it out on the herd management guys, the cult. Okay, so it may be that at that level, but it's sort of a cover your ass kind of a thing. In any event, though, we're into the period of time where we've got nation against nation, we've got revolutions, we've got unknown drones over the country, military bases, we've got the migrant crisis, all of these crises coming to basically all frothing up at the same time. And this is going to be the conditions for melee. And melee erupts when the command structure breaks down, and we're in the midst of that now. You can actually watch our civilian and military command structure break down in real time with what's going on with the so-called drones.
What's that? Jersey? Yeah.
In New Jersey, right.
Yeah.
Okay, the command structure is absent, the governor doesn't show up, the military is saying bullshit that we all know is bullshit, blah, 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 blah. So obviously they don't control anything. And so the next thing up is that people will react to try and control their local circumstances. So basically, if there's a drone over their house, they're very likely to shoot at it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now very quickly on the melee part, people can go and watch your video. I have a notes page also. If you guys go to beyondmystic.net/notes, you'll see the link to those past interviews and those past videos and Substack articles from Clif High. But I wanted to ask you precisely also, in terms of the melee, you've described it as basically fighting within the fighting and outside of a generalized structure or military structure. And so that implies, as you're just discussing now, the military not talking to the police, vice versa, and militaries fighting each other, and perhaps also people fighting each other or fighting another contingent. I want you to maybe drill down on that human aspect. What does it mean to the guy on the street to be in that melee as per the data right now? What's showing up?
Okay, well, so all right, so the issue of the melee and just the guy in the street over these. Well, right now it's not that degraded, okay, but it's going to degrade fairly rapidly as things push forward. So we're in the process of actually seeing the military abandon authority. They're abandoning authority by saying, "Oh no, we don't. There's no mothership and there's no drones from Iran." Okay, um, but we don't know what they are, and you shouldn't shoot at them, right? And we're not taking any action against them. So,
Right.
so this creates an authority hole that into which the melee forces will start emerging. All right. So if you're on the street, you're not going to see necessarily a cohesive command structure. I would not count on any social services to be operational as we go forward. This would include police, fire, any of these guys, right? They may be otherwise directed by what authority still exists for operations that we're not aware of, or they may have just basically packed it in. I was just going to point out that's what happened in 1938 with the War of the Worlds broadcast in the radio, right? A surprising effect that wasn't really noticed very much at that point was how many fire stations emptied as all the people ran home. Same thing with police departments. It was something of a mess over the next few days getting everything sorted out because so many people abandoned their posts in New Jersey at that time. So, and it was only 100 miles or so from where the drones are now. That was the theoretical start of this War of the Worlds. There's a couple of things to note here, all right? It's, you have to, in my opinion, you have to take anything that authority says as being, oh boy, I hope they believe it, So, so if they say it's from Iran, well,
You can access the rest of Clif High's videos from the link in the description. Now let's briefly summarize what happened in the world and American economy today. Global Economic Overview. Global economic performance in 2024 remains under scrutiny as major institutions adjust their growth forecasts. According to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, global GDP is projected to grow by 3.1% in 2024, reflecting improved resilience compared to previous years. This outlook considers better-than-expected growth in some regions despite global challenges, such as persistent inflationary pressures and geopolitical tensions. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, on the other hand, predicts global economic growth of 2.7% for 2024, citing restrictive financial conditions, declining trade volumes, and subdued business and consumer confidence as key deterrents. Advanced economies are particularly experiencing slower growth, while developing economies showcase uneven recovery trajectories. United States economy. The U.S. economy has exhibited remarkable resilience in 2024, outperforming many expectations. In the fourth quarter, the U.S. economy grew at an annualized rate of 3.3%. Surpassing market expectations of 2%. This robust performance was fueled by strong consumer spending, stable job growth, and increased manufacturing activity. Inflation trends. Inflation in the United States remains moderate and under control. November 2024 data revealed an annual inflation rate of 2.7%, slightly higher than October's 2.6%. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, has also stabilized, bolstering optimism that Federal Reserve policies are effectively managing price pressures. Labor market. The U.S. labor market remains strong, with the unemployment rate steady at 3.6%. Wage growth has been consistent, supporting household consumption. However, economists remain cautious about potential overheating in specific sectors, such as technology and real estate. European economic landscape. Europe's economy faced significant headwinds in 2024, grappling with the impacts of high borrowing costs and lingering energy uncertainties. The OECD forecasts that the Eurozone will achieve only 0.9% growth in 2024, reflecting weak economic momentum. Inflationary developments. Inflation in the Eurozone has been declining steadily. As of December 2024, the headline inflation rate stood at 2.6%, down from 2.8% in November. This decline is largely attributed to falling energy prices and easing supply chain pressures. Regional disparities. Notably, southern European countries such as Italy and Spain face steeper economic challenges, while northern economies like Germany exhibit slightly better recovery due to strong industrial output and exports. Emerging markets. Emerging economies in 2024 are navigating a mixed landscape. While some countries, like India, maintain high growth rates driven by domestic consumption and digital transformation, others, such as Turkey and South Africa, continue to battle inflation and currency depreciation. Debt and inflation pressures. Emerging markets collectively allocated over $1.4 trillion to debt servicing in 2024, marking the highest level in 2 decades, according to the World Bank. High global interest rates have compounded their debt burdens, while inflation remains a persistent challenge. For instance, Russia's inflation in December 2024 hit 6.3%, driven by food and energy prices. China's slower recovery. China's post-pandemic recovery has slowed considerably. GDP growth is projected at 4.5% for 2024 as the country deals with a property market crisis, weakened exports, and subdued domestic demand. Key themes to watch. Monetary policy shifts. Central banks globally are expected to maintain higher interest rates for longer periods to combat inflation. The Federal Reserve and European Central Bank have both signaled caution in easing monetary tightening. Energy market dynamics. Oil prices remain volatile amid geopolitical tensions. As of December 15th, Brent crude is trading around $81 per barrel, reflecting uncertainty about OPEC Plus production cuts and global demand. Geopolitical risks. Trade tensions between the U.S. and China, coupled with the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, continue to shape global economic risks. Green energy transition. Investment in renewable energy and sustainability remains a bright spot, with nations like the U.S., Germany, and India leading initiatives to decarbonize industries. Conclusion. Today's economic data underscores a global economy in transition, marked by resilience in some areas and vulnerabilities in others. The U.S. leads growth among advanced economies, while Europe faces stagnation, and emerging markets grapple with inflation and debt challenges. Policymakers will need to balance inflation control with fostering sustainable growth, navigating risks posed by geopolitical uncertainties and financial vulnerabilities.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe to our channel. Your comments are very valuable to us. Please make a small comment.